Chapter 4. The main stadium of Palmaru was packed to the brim. Spectators, students, parents, and potential sponsors held their breath in feverish anticipation. The sun was setting on the horizon, casting a golden light on the track, sports fields, and the excited stands. The interclub sports event, organized so diligently by Léon, Élodie, and Paul, was reaching its climax. Léon stood at the center of the stadium, his muscles tense and his mind focused. He exchanged a look with Élodie and Paul, who were also preparing to give their best. They were exhausted, every fiber of their being crying out for a moment of rest, but the will to succeed kept them standing. At this moment, there was no room for failure. The final events of the day were approaching, and the tension increased when Damien Malesherbes, accompanied by some supporters of Francis Pardon, appeared. Damien and his friends' jerseys were covered with the logos of the biggest sponsors in the sports world, leaving barely any space for their names. "Ready to lose, Renard?" Damien's voice was full of challenge. Léon responded with an unyielding look. "More than ready, Damien." The first event was a speed race, a discipline that required both coordination and speed. Léon took his starting position, feeling the adrenaline pulse through his veins. The whistle blew, and he sprang forward, his feet pounding the ground with vigor. The crowd held its breath, each second feeling like an eternity. As Léon crossed the finish line, the stadium erupted in cheers. The direct confrontation between Léon and Damien occurred during the archery event, a discipline where concentration and precision were essential. Damien stood next to Léon, an arrogant expression of confidence on his face. "You'll regret challenging Pardon," Damien murmured as he prepared his arrow. Léon ignored the provocation, his mind focused on the target. He took a deep breath, raised his bow, aimed, and released the arrow. The projectile cut through the air and hit the center of the target, prompting an explosion of enthusiastic cries from the stands. Disturbed by Léon's flawless performance, Damien lost his concentration. His arrow veered slightly off target, and the satisfied smile disappeared from his face. Élodie and Paul then participated in their respective events. Despite a sore ankle, Élodie demonstrated impressive strategy and finesse in a badminton match, while Paul, using his inner strength and discipline, triumphed in a wrestling competition. Each performance testified to their resilience and perseverance, gaining the admiration of the crowd and sponsors. At the end of the day, the interclub sports event was a partial success. They had attracted enough attention to secure temporary support, but everyone knew that the battle for equal opportunities at Palmaru was far from over. In an impromptu meeting after the events, Albert Dubois and Francis Pardon confronted each other verbally, each defending their vision for the school's future. The lines of fracture between their philosophies were clear. "Pardon, you cannot turn this institution into an exclusive club for the privileged," Dubois declared, his voice full of conviction. "Palmaru was founded on principles of merit and equality. These children deserve the chance to shine, regardless of their background." Francis Pardon, unperturbed, responded coldly. "Times change, Dubois. If this institution wants to survive, it must adapt. Sponsors seek the elite, not outdated ideals." The debate continued, with neither side yielding. However, the success of the event had proven one essential thing: the collective determination of the students and their allies could tip the balance. At the end of the event, Léon, Élodie, and Paul felt a mix of satisfaction and fatigue. They had succeeded in drawing attention to their cause, but the road ahead was still full of obstacles. Yet, standing side by side, they knew they had the strength to continue fighting for their school and their ideals. "This is only the beginning," Élodie murmured, her gaze resting on the now deserted stadium. The school's auditorium was beautifully decorated for the year-end ceremony. The students, dressed in their impeccable uniforms, sat in a mix of nervousness and excitement. The walls of the great hall were adorned with colorful banners of the various sports clubs, and a soft light bathed the stage where Albert Dubois stood ready to give his speech. Léon, Élodie, and Paul sat together, their faces expressing a complex palette of emotions. The success of their interclub sports event had been a defining moment, but the year had been long and challenging. The rivalry between Albert Dubois and Francis Pardon had left visible scars on the institution, and the students felt the uncertainty of the future. Albert Dubois took the floor, and a respectful silence fell over the auditorium. "Dear students," he began, his voice resonating with sincere warmth, "this year has been one of the most challenging and revealing in our school's history. You have demonstrated a sense of community and brotherhood that makes us proud." Applause echoed, and Léon felt a wave of pride wash over him. He knew Dubois was speaking about him, his friends, and all those who had fought for equal opportunities at Palmaru. "Thanks to your determination and solidarity," Dubois continued, "we have managed to preserve the values that make this school a unique place. Your collective action has short-circuited the policies that threatened our integrity." At that moment, Léon cast a discreet glance at Francis Pardon, sitting a few rows away. The minister displayed a closed expression. Léon understood that, despite everything, Pardon had been forced to abandon his elitist policies, at least for the time being. "This is only the beginning," Dubois went on. "We must remain vigilant and united for the challenges ahead, but tonight we celebrate your achievement and your courage." When Dubois finished his speech, the auditorium erupted in cheers. The students stood up to applaud, and Léon felt a comforting warmth spread through him. But this joy was tempered by an underlying worry. He exchanged a look with Élodie and Paul, knowing that the rivalry between Dubois and Pardon was not over. After the ceremony, the students gathered in the school's gardens for a reception. Léon, Élodie, and Paul took this moment to discuss their mixed feelings. "I am proud of what we have accomplished," Élodie said, her eyes shining with emotion. "But I can't help worrying about the future. The tension between Dubois and Pardon could have unpredictable consequences." Paul nodded, looking serious. "Yes, I feel it too. We must stay united and ready to act if necessary." Touched by the depth of their concerns, Léon took a deep breath. "I agree. But we also need to focus on our athletic development. This summer, I'm going to train harder than ever. I want to become the best football player this school has ever seen." Élodie smiled, her expression softening. "And you will be, Léon. We all need to prepare to become the best version of ourselves." The evening progressed, and the students began to say goodbye for the summer. Léon felt a wave of sadness wash over him at the thought of being separated from his friends, even temporarily. He remembered the previous summer, the loneliness and fear of being forgotten. "You know," he said softly, "last summer I was so afraid of being forgotten by you all. But this year I am reassured. Our friendship is stronger than ever." Élodie and Paul embraced him warmly, sharing a moment of silent camaraderie. "We will always be there for each other," Paul affirmed, his voice filled with conviction. Tears in his eyes, Léon felt hopeful. "Have a great summer." The farewells were filled with emotion, but also with a tacit promise to reunite soon. As the garden lights slowly dimmed, Léon, Élodie, and Paul each headed toward their immediate future. The night was calm as Léon remained alone at the school for the summer. The stars twinkled above him, like a silent promise of better days to come.